Okay, thanks for joining us today, everybody. We are here today to talk about winning at MFA and how and why we use 2FA or MFA, multi-factor authentication, and why it is important. And Henry has a little demonstration on exactly how to use it and how easy it is, really. Everyone should be using this now. Even my parents know what MFA are. So if you're not using it for your business, it's definitely time to give us a call and talk about how we can get you set up. And Henry, I'll pass it over to you and you can walk them through it.
Okay, well, thank you, Stephanie. All right, folks, we're gonna walk through this, make it really simple about how to use multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication, and that's really important to know how to do it. But I think it's way more important to know why. So we're going to start there. Before we get too far into this, I always want to make sure that we're aware of there is some phenomenal resources that we've got available that go into a whole lot more cybersecurity issues and dig into a lot of different facets and ways that you can protect yourself. We have a simple 3-part guide, turnkeysol.com/guide about cybersecurity essentials. We update that ourselves regularly with newest information to keep you up to date. And we just published our first book in December of last year called Winning the Cyber War, where we dig a whole lot deeper into just hundreds of different things that folks have brought up over the years. So really important, valuable resources. We're going to give them to you at no cost. So just go check those out. Now, we're going to go to the basics and the beginnings of why should we use two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. We're not going to cover what it is, but we are going to cover why here real quick. There's a whole lot of different organizations that talk about things that they've learned and the data from big hacks and cyber security evidence and the proof of what's going on. And I thought for our audience today, it'd be really good to just look at the FBI's study. They do a study every year and they show what their Internet Crimes Complaint Center has responded to and what they've got in their databases. And this is typically for United States-based residents and businesses. Now, the #1 incident causing issue that they detected in all of 2022 was business email compromise. That's where an email address or an email mailbox gets taken over by the bad actor, and that's used to then send fake invoices or alter accounts payable or accounts receivable or email their friends with bad links. Just 1,000 different ways hackers can take advantage of a basically stolen or hijacked email account. And this often includes the concept of BEC or business email compromise, includes other ways that email factors into different attacks. But it's important to note that the FBI saw that as the #1 threat, right? In all of 2022, not malware, not other things. They saw a lot of that too, but this is the #1 biggest issue. And they specifically said, if you can see it on my screen here, the IC3 Internet Crime Center emphasizes the importance of leveraging two-factor or multi-factor authentication as an additional security layer. They stress this as the most important remediation for the biggest threat that they saw all of last year. Okay, so I'm going to keep that as kind of just the highest level reason why we should. Another interesting fact that I saw is, and we've been seeing this for years and years, kind of coming for closer and closer to us, and we are here now where artificial intelligence is a big threat. It's being used by the bad actors, by the hackers, by the cybercrime organizations, the nation states that are trying to attack us. They're using this tool of artificial intelligence to crack passwords. And this study that just came out, now this just came out in April of this year, found that 51% of common passwords can be basically hacked instantly. 51% of the common passwords that we're using, that you're using, that we see out there, can be cracked almost instantly. using the new artificial intelligence tools. And by the way, it's going to get worse because AI is getting faster. Okay. 65% of common passwords can be cracked in less than an hour. 71% can be cracked in less than a day, and 81% of common passwords can be cracked in less than a month. So if hackers want to get to your systems, they can steal your passwords. They can use artificial intelligence to just brute force attack them and find the password. Or if hackers want to get into your systems, and the only thing protecting it is a username and a password, then they can get into it nowadays. All right, there's a really high probability that they can get into it. So we gotta look at what can we do in addition to usernames and passwords, and the simple solution is multi-factor authentication, or 2FA. And I'll beat this one more time. Why should we use 2FA or MFA? FBI says it's important. Microsoft, who runs the largest email platform on earth pretty much for businesses, Microsoft says it is the single best thing that you can do to protect your Microsoft 365 account. And more than likely your cybersecurity insurance policy says you have to be doing it. All right, so there's a whole lot of reasons. I've got just tons and tons of evidence. We're not going to go any deeper into that, but it's really important that we do it. All right, now where should we be putting or turning on and implementing multi-factor authentication? Basically everywhere possible. Okay, I'll keep it simple. Everywhere that it's possible. If a software, a computer, a platform, a website, whatever it is, if they have 2FA or MFA, please turn it on. Now, in specific detail, if you have an email address, which that's you, if you have an email address, turn on MFA on your email, okay? And for business accounts, everybody with email accounts that they manage for their employees, we need MFA on those. Any remote access system like Splashtop, Go to My PC, any VPN, Citrix, remote desktop, you got to put MFA on those, because the hackers can log into your computers now from Korea, China, Russia. They really appreciate us firing up those remote access tools. We've got to lock them down. Cloud storage like Dropbox, share file, or dare I say move it. That's the one of the tools that the hackers use to hack a ton of Department of Motor Vehicles, or OMVs, across the US. So these cloud storage platforms, we need MFA on them, because again, that's a tool that you give access to files from anywhere. So we need to make sure that it's secured as best as we can. Cloud apps like your online banking, your Facebook, your QuickBooks Online, please turn on MFA. And finally, servers, desktops. These are just examples, but basically, like I said at the beginning, if it has MFA as a possibility, then we need to definitely turn it on. And if it doesn't have MFA and it's in one of this list, then we need to maybe look at an alternative product that allows MFA on that system, because your passwords are more than likely not sufficient to protect your systems. Now, we use a product called Authpoint from a company that we have a phenomenal success history of working with, called WatchGuard. This is one of the primary tools that we use, and more than likely you're watching this video because one of our technicians has said, hey, we're going to be doing Authpoint in your environment, and you need to watch this quick little video about how to use it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you actually how we use Authpoint. Authpoint is a token-based system. We can use a little hardware PFOB, but what I'm going to show you specifically today is my Authpoint using my cell phone, and I'm going to remotely connect to my cell phone. Hang on just a second, and here it goes. There we go. All right, so here's my cell phone. I'm remotely connected directly to it. And I'm also going to fire up and connect directly to a workstation. So hopefully you can share. Stephanie, can you see my cell phone and my screen? Good. All right. So it's good to
double check on those kind of things. I'm going to fire up Authpoint, and I'm going to tell it, yes, it's okay to show the screen as an additional security layer. It doesn't like to show the screen when you're remoting into it. So here's an example of Authpoint. It's running on my desktop. I mean, on my cell phone. It's just a little app that runs the little codes. It's got a bunch of different ways you can use this. Like if we log into Facebook, I'll show that in just a second. That's a simple thing, but here's a laptop that I've got protected with Authpoint. And so I'm going to remote into this, and I'm going to put in my password and try to log in. And what it's going to do is, it's on my cell phone, is it's going to pop up. We call this push notification. It's going to pop up a notice, and it's going to give a specific data. It's going to say, hey, look, somebody from this location this IP address is trying to log in. Do you want to allow them? If I said deny, it would stop me from logging in. If I say approve on my cell phone, it's going to go and send a message right there and allow me to log in directly to my laptop. It's that simple. It's incredibly simple. I'll show it again. It's just that simple. And I'll kind of show one important point that a lot of people ask is, like, what if we don't have the app running? So I'm going to go kind of minimize it. I'm just bopping around and doing stuff on my cell phone, and I'm not really looking for Authpoint to show up. But I'm going to go log into the computer again, and I'll show you what it does at that interface. So I'm going to log into the computer, and again, I've got the cell phone sitting on the desktop. It's going to pop up a little smaller notification right there. We click on that, and it brings up the full interface, and we say approved. So that's as hard as that is. That's the entire experience. It works incredibly fast and very reliably. So now, that said, that's how we use it on 2FA and MFA on a desktop. Now, what about those cloud applications? One of the big ones that I kind of like to show off is the Dropbox. If you're going to be using Dropbox for saving files, and this is just an example, not everybody uses Dropbox, I get it. It's just an example of a cloud-based system where it's a website and there's an app that ties with it, and there's all kind of these things, but it's kind of a cloud-first thing. So we're going to put in our username. And let's say the hackers have discovered my password for Dropbox. If this is all that I've got in there as my protections, if I put in a username and password and I'm in Russia, Korea, wherever, and I hit log in, then I'd be, the hackers would be in. As it is, when I've got 2FA turned on Dropbox. So I'm going to show my phone again. And in this situation, this particular application doesn't have the ability to pop up or push a notification. What it does is it allows me to have this little kind of rolling code. So I'm going to look at my phone and grab the code and put it in. If you wanted to say trust this computer and work within that application's trusting framework or their guidelines and policies, you could, but I put in the code and I'm in. It's that hard. Okay. The same mechanism exists for Facebook. We use Slack. I have Google, and I've got literally hundreds of different platforms and things that I've used over the years that are tied in. So there it is. I'm logged into my Dropbox, and you can see it literally slowed me down maybe 15 seconds. I don't know. But that's the extent of it. And I hate to be really, super brief on this, but that's how hard it is. Using MFA and 2FA is incredibly important. Using MFA and 2FA is, or can be, incredibly simple. And we're here to help you with it. If you have questions, please call us. Please put in a service ticket or call the office. And we have a ton of other like videos and help little infographics and notes that we put out on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, on our website, the blogs. So follow us there if you want a little bit more information or help with anything. And that's it. So hopefully this was helpful for you. And if you've got questions, by all means, please let us know.